Welcome, welcome. Glad that you could join us. I'm Morgan. So this is a nice small group. I see Tina Wright has joined us. Welcome. We're glad to have you,
Thank
Tina.
you. hmm
So this is, as I said, a very small, nice group here. This is not the kind of webinar that you just feel like you need to listen to a talking head. I want this to be something that you all can participate in. If you have questions about Harbor's Edge and the LifeCare agreement, feel free to jump in. You can raise your hand. You can also put your question in the chat. I'll keep an eye on our participant list here. So as people kind of come off mute, that's usually my cue to say, oh, maybe you've got a question. So feel free to jump in. And Bonnie, I'll ask that you just be our check on audio and making sure everything looks right and sounds right. So just shoot me a note in the chat if things are in good shape or if you need me to change anything on my end. So how are we feeling? Should we go ahead and jump in?
Sure.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, before we get started, I'm curious, Jackie, since I've got you here, tell me where you're calling in from.
Virginia Beach.
Oh, so just down the road. Very nice. And how about you, Monica?
Norfolk.
Oh, here in Norfolk. Excellent. Excellent. How about you, Tina? Can you tell us where you're calling from?
Norfolk. I can see Harbor's Edge from my window.
Oh, well, you can just come on over anytime. We would love to see you in person. We're glad you're able to join us today.
Thank you.
Anyone else? How about you, Cool? Where are you calling in from?
This is Virginia Beach. Actually,
Okay.
Cole is my husband. I'm the one who kind of decided to sign up. I'm Priya.
Priya,
Yeah.
nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Well, we're really glad that you're here. And you said Virginia Beach?
Virginia Beach.
Virginia Beach. Nice. So everyone's pretty much in the area. I am actually sitting right now in Durham, North Carolina. I work as a consultant with Harbor's Edge as the vice president of marketing. And I also own a consulting company called Lauren Rose Senior Advisors. And I serve communities just like Harbor's Edge all over the US, providing sales and marketing support for life plan communities. And a little bit about me and my background. I grew up in Ohio. So this is a picture of my mom and dad, John and Lauren. And Lauren is my mom. Lauren Rose is the name of my company. I named it after her.
We're in Ohio.
We're in Ohio.
Where in Ohio? So I grew up. Have you ever heard of Cedar Point, the amusement park?
Not really. We spent
Okay.
the early part of our career in around Columbus, in
Oh,
Granville.
okay. Oh, in
Granville.
Granville. Yeah, I know Granville. So I grew
Denison,
up. Oh,
Denison
what
University.
Denison University.
yeah. So I grew up in northern Ohio. If you were to go just almost due north of Columbus to Sandusky area. So that's where Cedar Point is, the big amusement park right there on Lake Erie. So we were almost where my parents' property is about a mile south of the lake, and so we spent all of our time on boats and hanging out in the islands and going to Cedar Point during the summer. And then we spent our winters just like this with a bunch of snow. And this picture actually was taken in December of 2020. And in the height of COVID, both my parents in this picture were positive with COVID. This is the first time my dad had been able to get up and out of bed for about 3 weeks. And I had have been a caregiver with my mom and dad for, of course, many years as my mom was diagnosed with dementia in 2017. So I had been taking care of them from afar, and we were in a crisis situation. And this was actually just as my parents were getting better from COVID, but my mom having to go into memory care. So I come at this from a lot of different angles. I'm a caregiver myself. I know what it's like to be serving those that are seniors and those that are going through different stages of retirement. And I'm working this professionally. I've been in this industry for a little over 20 years and have been very fortunate to work with different types of organizations, from independent rental communities to continuing care retirement communities and everything in between. So I'm very pleased to share more about the LifeCare program with you all, and we'll just jump right in. All right. I'm just going to do a little double check here on our waiting room. Okay, it looks like we're good. Okay, so True Life Care from Harbor's Edge. This contract that Harbor's Edge offers, True Life Care, is truly one of the most comprehensive options for senior living. There are lots of different choices. As I said, my dad still lives in his home, so that's certainly an option as you're retired and you're looking at different choices. You could just stay in your home, and that's something that I've seen lots of folks do, where they may consider, okay, how do I manage stairs? How do I manage some of the different aspects of the home to make life easier here? There are also month-to-month rental options where you could rent an apartment. Sometimes those are subsidized apartments for seniors, and you have to be income qualified to be able to get into those types of apartment situations. You could purchase an apartment. There's a lot of different options there for senior communities, 55 and up options. And what we'll talk about today is continuing care retirement communities, or what is now known as life plan communities. And these communities, does anyone happen to know kind of how these types of communities got their start? Any ideas?
No.
Yeah, so it actually, these types of communities, continuing care retirement communities, originally started over 100 years ago. And these communities would actually start with churches. And back in the early 1900s, there were church organizations that would say, hey, we have parishioners who are getting older. They may not have family members to take care of them. So we will offer to that parishioner, you can come and live in our church home, and we'll take care of you for the rest of your life. The only thing you have to do is sign over all your assets over to the church. And, it was an interesting financial promise, but many, many people really felt safe and secure with this promise. And they were affiliating themselves with their faith in later in life, which was something that was very attractive at that time. So as time went on in the 60s and 70s, some of these communities started to evolve, not so much as church organizations, but they really started to expand and get a little bigger. And people started to realize, actually, we could actually develop these communities into something that is really a really attractive place to live. And instead of people just having to sign over all their estate, they may choose to live here and give a portion of their estate to the community, but still have this promise that they're going to have care for the rest of their life. And that's really what the basis of life plan or life care communities is all about. It's a financial promise that when you move into the community, you're going to be taken care of for the rest of your life, no matter how your finances change and no matter how your medical needs change over time. And particularly for couples, this is a really attractive option, because we have found not all couples age at exactly the same way. And so we love the fact that in these types of communities, one member of the couple can live very independently and can really develop friendships and social interactions in the independent living, while the other member of the couple is getting the care that they need, all under one roof. So you're still together, you're still able to be in the same place, but you're really getting the services and the care that are appropriate for you. So let's talk a little bit about some of these different options. So in life plan communities or continuing care retirement communities, there are different types of contract options. There's a type A, Type B, and Type C option, and some communities offer a month-to-month rental option. All of these communities operate as not-for-profit entities. Almost all of them operate as a not-for-profit entity. And the entity is run by a voluntary board of directors. So they really are the ones that are making decisions about the community, the financial health of the community, and ensuring that the community is going to be safe and secure for many generations to come. At Harbor's Edge, we offer the Type A, the LifeCare agreement. And so this means that the amount that you pay for your entrance fee and the amount that you pay for your monthly service fee covers you for life. It's life care. And that means that as you change different levels of care, whether you need independent living, assisted living, or memory support, or even skilled nursing care, your monthly service fee remains stable over time. So you're not having to worry about huge variations should you need those higher levels of care, or if one of you needs assisted living, the other one is independent. Regardless of that change, your monthly service fee remains stable over time. The only additional cost that you're responsible for paying in the Type A agreement, if you need a higher level of care, is the extra cost for meals. And so that's a really nice way that you can plan for what those potential costs are over time. A Type B contract is what we consider a modified contract, which means that you still pay an entrance fee, you're still paying a monthly service fee. But if you need additional levels of care, like assisted living or memory support or skilled nursing, you would receive it there within the community at a discounted rate. So it would still be a higher cost, but it would be discounted from what the typical market rate might be. And then the Type C contract fee for service simply means you're paying an entrance fee to move in, and then the monthly service fee is an independent resident. And then should you need that higher level of care, you pay a market rate. So with that level, with a fee for service level, you are subject to the risk that that cost is going to be going up and up and up over time. And so that risk is really on you as a resident. You may pay a little less up front, but then down the road, you'll pay more for that higher level of care. The LifeCare program, we feel, is really the best option when it comes to managing your risk of higher costs for healthcare services. And I'll get into that during our discussion today. Any questions so far about some of these different types of contracts?
Yes, I have a question.
Go
So
ahead.
with the Type A, so we would pay the entrance fee and then a monthly fee, but if you have to move up to, say, memory care, does your monthly fee increase or does it stay the same as when you were in your regular apartment?
Yeah, great question. So the only difference in cost from going from independent living to memory support would be what we call a transition fee, which covers additional meals. And the approximate cost per month is about $700 per month. Because in independent living, the meals that are covered are about one meal per day. In assisted living, you're getting 3 meals per day, or memory support, you're getting 3 meals per day plus snacks. So there's an additional cost there for those meals, but that's the only additional cost that you'll have.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, good question.
I just have a technical question. How do I get the slides to move? I'm still on the first slide.
Yeah.
Oh, you're still on the first slide.
I don't know how to get it. I
no.
tried. I don't know how to get the slides to move.
Is that
I
the
put it
same
in the
for-
chat room, but I didn't know how to make it work.
Is that the same for everybody else?
Yeah, I don't see any slides. I see you. That's it. Oh.
Yeah, it's not moving.
Well, let's try it again here. Let's try it again. All right, I'm going to try, let's see here. We're going to go to this one here. How about now?
I'm still on slide 1. Okay, there's 2.
Oh, okay.
Okay, which one are we supposed to be on?
Yeah.
Can you see slide 3? Slide 4 is ABC, which is right for me.
Yeah, right. Now I'm on
Okay.
that one. Okay.
So let me go back here. There's that picture of my mom and dad that I was talking about earlier.
Okay.
That makes a little
Okay, I
bit
didn't
more
want to
sense
interrupt
now.
your present. I put it in the chat,
No.
but
Oh,
okay.
well, interrupt away. Let me see if I can move this over my other screen just so I can see the chat a little bit better. I'm gonna move this over here. All right, this should be a little bit better.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
everybody can see the ABC right now?
Okay.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. All right.
Okay.
Thank you for
Oh,
interrupting. I
sure.
appreciate
Okay.
that.
Okay.
All right. Well, I wanted to share a little bit more about one of our couples who lives here at Harbor's Edge. And when I think of a wonderful testament to a successful marriage, I really think of Jack and Marnie McKnight. So Jack's mother, in her early 70s, unfortunately lost her husband unexpectedly. And within a few months of that happening, she went to Jack and his brothers and said, "Listen, I love you, and you all have your own busy lives. I'm moving into a continuing care retirement community." And Jack and his brothers said, "What are you doing? You're so young. You don't need to be doing this so young." And she said, "Listen, I want to be independent. I want to take care of myself. I don't want to be moving in with any of you. And I like people. I like to see people and I want to be social. And this is a great way for me to do that." So she moved into a small apartment into a CCRC, and that was back in the early 90s, and lived a very healthy, vibrant life. And Jack said to his mom, this is a model for me, and I think we want to do the same thing." And she said, "The only thing I'll tell you is do not do it too late." And if you've been in communities like this, you can walk around the community and you can quickly realize there are some residents who made this decision right on time and early and they're loving it. And then there are some residents that you see and you think, gosh, I bet they would have loved this 10 years ago. And so Jack and Marnie did just that. They chose Harbor's Edge in their early 70s, and they truly have a zest for learning, trying new things, and just enjoying every aspect of life, which is just wonderful to see. Marnie is one of our residents who's very involved with the Flower Guild, and she is a beautiful artist when it comes to flower arranging. And just recently, our Flower Guild actually taught a class to all of the gentlemen in the community, and they taught all the gentlemen how to put together Valentine's flower arrangements. And that was just a great example of how our residents really share their love of learning with each other, and they stay young. They stay young in a lot of different ways. All right, so let's jump into the 7 reasons why true life care is really the best decision for the future. So, number 7 is really, I think, one of the most important reasons, and it speaks to what Jack and Marnie made a decision on, which is they don't want to wait to enjoy this exceptional living. And you want to be able to enjoy all that the independent living community has to offer well in advance of needing to worry about any kind of health issues. In independent living, you're enjoying your own luxurious, maintenance-free apartment. That apartment can range in size anywhere from about 1,000 square feet to 3,000 square feet. So there's a lot of choices for the type and the size of an apartment that you would have within the community. And the apartment that you choose is going to dictate your entrance fee and your monthly service fee within the community. So that entrance fee could range anywhere from just under 300,000 all the way up to 2.6 million. And that's going to depend on lots of different factors. The biggest factor that will dictate your entrance fee is what type of refund level that you choose. So we're going to get into some of those different refund options and what that means for your financial peace of mind down the road. But there is a broad range of residence types and locations and costs related to that. What you get when you pay that entrance fee and you are part of the LifeCare program is you get care for life, and you get the opportunity to really have what we think of as a lifetime lease to the apartment and to that home. So you don't have to worry about any maintenance. You don't have to worry about housekeeping. Utilities are included. The appliances are all included. If you have a light bulb go out, you put a ticket in and someone comes and changes that for you. It's really, truly worry-free lifestyle. And I know a lot of our residents love it when they travel, because they just lock the door and walk out. And it just makes it really, really easy to enjoy the other aspects of the community. Within the community, we have 3 different restaurants in the River Tower, which is our newer tower. And then we have a cafe in the Harbor Tower, which is our original location that's just been all completely renovated. We have a beauty salon and spa. We have 2 different fitness centers, a wellness studio where we teach yoga, meditation, and all different types of classes. We have an indoor swimming pool, golf simulator, art studio, just all different types of amenities that you get to enjoy as an independent resident. And if you have not had a chance to tour Harbor's Edge in the past few months, I highly recommend you come and take a tour, because the Harbor Tower has all been completely redesigned, and it's an absolutely gorgeous space. The idea here is that you can have this very easy place to live and be able to spend all of your time doing things that you truly love to do, and hopefully not spending a lot of time dealing with maintaining the house and raking the leaves and kind of figuring out all of those other kind of drudgery things to do with the home. And ideally, when you make this decision, you're giving yourself more fulfillment and purpose in life. Of course, should something happen, part of our amenity is that we do have additional healthcare services. We have physical therapy, a health clinic, and our assisted living, our memory support, our rehab, all of that's right here on site. Reason number 6. So talking about that inclusive access to the full continuum of healthcare services. So we provide the care right here on our campus. You are guaranteed as a LifeCare resident that you are going to have a private apartment should you need it, a private apartment in assisted living, memory support, rehab, skilled nursing, all right here within the same roof of Harbor's Edge. We would not, we don't want you to have to go off campus for these needs. We find that because our team has known you as an independent resident, we can provide a much elevated level of care for you should you need it. And you can move freely between these levels of care without dramatic increases in your monthly service fee. One of the greatest values with this too is that we have a social worker here on site who's going to support you and your spouse through these different changes. So as you have different needs, the social worker is going to be working with you to figure out what can we do to help you remain independent, to preserve your dignity, to make sure that you're receiving the best care. Any questions on the healthcare services? All right, we'll move on to reason number 5. So long-term care insurance is something that we answer a lot of questions about. So happy to talk about long-term care insurance. Many people come to us and wonder, I don't have it. Do I need it? Or I already purchased it. Do I have to have LifeCare? And we really like to say that True LifeCare is a great option for those that don't have long-term care insurance, because at this point, if you're over the age of 70, it's a very expensive purchase to make. If you already do have long-term care insurance, LifeCare works really nicely to reimburse you should you activate that policy. You're going to be in a licensed environment, so we're going to be able to get that reimbursement from your insurance. and it's going to help you actually reduce costs over time, which can be a great option. So it is estimated 7 out of 10 people today that are over the age of 65, 7 out of 10 will need some form of long-term care during their lifetime. And we know there's going to be some significant costs in healthcare over the next 10 years. In Virginia, it's expected to increase by 25% over the next 10 years. So those are pretty scary numbers when we kind of think about being on our own and needing that level of care. Of course, we're not even considering the level of demand for this care over time. And being part of a community really puts you into control with what those healthcare needs could be and how you're going to pay for them. So True Life Care really gives you a partner in that to be able to navigate your different care options. You know us, you're going to know our community, you're going to know our team knows you. So we're going to know how to provide that best care over time, and we're going to have some history to be able to really anticipate what some of those needs could mean. So it's a great option whether you have long-term care or even if you don't. Reason number 4, talking about those increasing costs in healthcare. From an industry standpoint, we see one of the greatest areas where costs are going up in healthcare is labor. So we have a wonderful team at Harbor's Edge that has a very, very high, long tenure within our community. And that actually helps us with preserving our healthcare costs. So we're not using outside agencies for any kind of contract work with healthcare workers. We have our own team. They're here, they're stable, and our team really likes working in a LifeCare environment. The reason for that is we have a group of residents who've been with us for a long time. So instead of being in an environment where your patients are turning over all the time, our people really like the fact that they can have multiple year and sometimes decades long friendship with the patients and the residents that they serve. So we really find that's a big value for being part of a LifeCare community. And by locking in that LifeCare contract, you're going to be protecting yourself against all of those increased costs in healthcare that are happening in some of those outside communities and the rental communities. And it just gives you great predictability of expenses and peace of mind that you're going to have the care that you need. Reason number 3, because you are prepaying for some of these medical needs, you can consider a portion of your entrance fee and your monthly fee to be prepaid medical expenses. And the portion that we received last year, it was calculated that the percentage was about 35%. So 35% of your expenses you can consider as prepaid medical expenses. And depending on your tax situation, you can consider those tax deductible. So that's another way to really preserve your assets over time. The entrance fee that you're paying, you can choose that to be a 0% refund, a 50% refund, or an 80% refund. And so that's another way you can preserve part of your estate to make sure that that amount comes back to your family or goes to your estate when you leave the community. So lots of predictability with LifeCare. And I think as we get older and we think about all of the things and the curveballs that can be thrown at us, predictability is a really, it comes at a high price. And it's also something that's a high value. I can speak to that situation with my mom and dad. We started to look at memory support options for my mom. Unfortunately, we don't have a continuing care retirement community up in Ohio where they live. And we looked at some different options, and I knew my mom was going to need memory support at some time. My dad was really dragging his feet, and just knowing, we're just going to wait this out. And I knew it was going to be a crisis, and it hit us like a ton of bricks. I came home one Thanksgiving with my family, and my dad was very, very ill with COVID. My mom was missing. We came home and no one knew where she was. She had taken a walk in the down the road And my dad had no idea because he had been so sick and was asleep for many, many hours. So fortunately, my mom eventually kind of came wandering back to the home. My dad that night had to go into the ER. It was just a really difficult situation. My family left me there in my parents' house in Ohio. That was right at Thanksgiving. And I ended up taking off work and staying with my family until Christmas Eve, until I was able to make some change with my mom and get my dad settled. And when you think about those crises, I think, you need to consider who in your life is able to do that, who is able to leave their full-time job and be there for you. And of course, if you're lucky enough to have a good relationship with your children, of course your children are willing and able and want to be able to do that for you. But it does come at a cost. It is a burden, and it's something that you want to consider for yourself if that's something you feel comfortable with. There are ways that you can give yourself some predictability so you don't have to worry about that burden. Our residents here will go through the same situation where maybe one person at some point could need additional care. They don't have to worry about when is that crisis going to come. They're working with a social worker to actually get in front of that crisis and think about what are ways we can keep this person stimulated and active to hopefully keep them living independently as long as possible. It's also a great opportunity to have predictability and know who is going to be your caregiver and get comfortable with that space to make sure that you are just really in a good place, that you know them, they know you, and that's always a good way to know you're going to have much better health options down the road. So lastly, we're very proud at Harbor's Edge to be located where we are. And when you have true life care, you can really have peace of mind, particularly at our community, knowing that you're going to have easy access to providers and integrated healthcare services right here within downtown Norfolk. We have, of course, we're right across the street from Centera Hospital, Centera Heart Hospital, and we also have Innovation Cardiology, our own cardiology service that's right here within our lobby of Harbor's Edge. We have Mid-Atlantic Long-Term Care, so we actually provide concierge medicine right here as part of our clinic. That's one of the advantages of being part of the LifeCare program. And then, of course, we have all different types of medical providers, pharmacists, dermatologists, dentists that actually come on site and provide care. So eventually, you really could have all of your healthcare services right here within a community. We don't want you to spend a lot of your time, traipsing across town for doctor's appointments, but it's nice to know it's all right here within our site. Any questions?
I have a question on the long-term care.
Yes.
So that is because we have long-term care.
Excellent.
How could we use that for our monthly expenses if we're not in assisted living, we're just in a regular apartment? We haven't had to do any further.
Right. You can't trigger your long-term care policy until you have a need. Most policies, you'll have one or two activities of daily living that you would need assistance with before that would trigger your policy. So once you have those areas of need for activities of daily living, so maybe you needed help with bathing or dressing or medication management, at that point you would have to be in assisted living, which is licensed care. And then at that point, we can file a claim for your assisted living monthly cost, and then that your long-term care will reimburse you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what the percentage is, or does that depend on the type of policy you have?
It depends on your policy. So most people have a policy that they have a reimbursement rate of maybe $150 or $200 per day. And the good news about LifeCare is we know exactly what your assisted living cost is going to be. So we can make sure that, yep, that policy is going to cover you should you ever need assisted living. And then oftentimes your costs go down as time goes on because you've got that policy.
Okay, I see.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I have a question also. Morgan, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, Priya.
Okay, so there are 3 levels of care, right? You go in as an independent, and must you go as an independent? Let's say you're a couple, one is totally independent and one is not so independent. What happens in that case?
Good question. So there's 4. You have independent living, assisted living, memory support, and then we also have skilled nursing care and rehabilitation. In order to be part of the True Life Care program, and Bo's got a good question here, how is True Life Care integrated into Harbor's Edge? True Life Care is Harbor's Edge. So when you move to Harbor's Edge, you're signing a True Life Care contract. So you're choosing an apartment and you're signing a contract for True Life Care to live in that apartment for the rest of your life or until you decide to leave. And so True Life Care is Harbor's Edge. You do have to pass a medical application and a financial application in order to qualify for True Life Care. So in order to qualify, the first thing that happens is we have you and your husband would have a conversation with our healthcare administrator. And then you complete a medical application with some information from your physician and from our healthcare team. So that gives you the opportunity to qualify for life care. And once you're qualified, you're in for life. And that's really a huge benefit because then you're guaranteeing your access to all of those care levels and you're preserving your cost. If one of you is not able to qualify for life care, that person can come in on a non-life care agreement. So they pay a little less, and if they needed assisted living or memory care, they would pay a market rate for that care. So they can still live independently with you, but if they need that care down the road, they would pay a market rate. So they're not qualified for life care, but they still can get that care within our community. Does that help?
Yeah, it does help. And
Great.
also, so what kind of, since this is new area for us, so I may be asking a question that your other participants already know, but what kind of facilities are available when you go into assisted care, for instance, at that level? What
So
can one?
Yeah, in assisted living, almost all of our apartments are 1-bedroom apartments. They're around 800 square feet. They have a living room with a kitchenette. They have a refrigerator, sink, a microwave area. A living room space. You could have a couch and TV set up, and then a full bedroom and bathroom. So you'd have basically a small 1-bedroom apartment in assisted living. And then, of course, within assisted living, we have our own dining area and different activities area throughout that part of our community. We have indoor and outdoor space. It's really a lovely area should you need assisted living. And then in memory support, the apartments are all smaller studio apartments, a little easier to manage, but you still have your own private bathroom area and lots of different amenity spaces within that memory support neighborhood. So there's kind of different levels. So as you move into assisted living, you have a smaller apartment, memory support's a little smaller, but you're still getting all the care that you need included in that monthly fee. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, just a bit of clarification. Assisted services include what? Let's say you're being moved to assisted living, you need some help, but you're not totally there yet, that you need totally dependent. What sort of services are available at that level?
So at that level in assisted living, we have around the clock CNAs, certified nurses assistants, who are there providing medication management. They're helping you make sure that you're getting to and from meals. There also can be there to assist you with what's called activities of daily living. So helping you with bathing, dressing, any kind of orientation to it's come on over to the activities, the wellness activities, all of that's part of assisted living.
Obviously it comes at an increased cost, right? From when you move from totally independent living to assisted living. It will
Yeah, that's the big advantage of LifeCare is you're actually paying the same monthly service fee. So if you and your husband are living as part of our LifeCare program, the person who stays in independent living would pay the second person fee, which is about $1,600 per month. So for that amount, that person's living in the independent living apartment, receiving all of the benefits of independent living, $1,000 in meal credits per quarter, access to all the services, the activities, the amenity spaces, housekeeping, utilities. So they're maintaining that independent apartment. And then the person living in assisted living would be basically paying the same as a 2-bedroom apartment in, or excuse me, they're paying the same monthly service fee that you were paying in independent living. So as a practical example, let's just say your monthly service fee is $5,000 per month. So $5,000 per month would be the first person fee. The second person fee would be right around $1,600 per month. So in total, you're paying $5,000 plus $1,600 or $6,600 per month. If you needed to go to assisted living, your husband stays in the apartment for $1,600. You move into assisted living for $5,000. The only thing that you're paying extra is about $700 a month, and that covers your additional meals because in assisted living, you get 3 meals a day, 7 days a week.
I see.
Does that help?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Another question here from Tina. Share some more details about the 0%, 50%, and 80% refund to heirs. I assume that impacts the entrance fee. It sure does. Yes. So the 0% entrance fee is the least expensive option to come into the community. 50% is kind of in the middle, and then 80% is the most expensive option. Each apartment comes with different levels, so that you would give a rate for 0, 50, and 80% refunds, and it's really up to you what works best for you and your family. For some people, they like the idea that they can have 80% of that refund preserved so that after you leave the community, once we've replaced your entrance fee, then that 80% refund goes back to you or it goes to your estate. So that's a way to really preserve a piece of your estate. It's very nice for tax purposes to do it that way. Other people like the idea that, you know what, I'm going to pay the least amount to come in. And if I decide to leave, that's okay. I'm leaving that money with Harbor's Edge. But I'm going to leave whatever else, whatever that difference is, I'm going to leave that in the market and continue to have that grow in my investments. So it's totally up to you which is the best. For your personal situation. And depending on the apartment that you're looking at, we'll of course be able to share what that differential is from the 0, 50, and 80%.
Got it. Good. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Good question. What other questions? Jackie?
Oh, nothing.
Okay. So the next step from here, what happens next? So we really encourage you to meet with our sales counselors. We really want you to take a look at a couple different locations that might work for you. Bo was asking, how many residents are there currently? Currently, we have just over 300 residents that live within the community in independent living. And then between assisted living and memory care and skilled nursing, we probably have another 65, 70 residents in those different levels of care. And so once you have a chance to come to the community, you're going to get a chance to see what does a renovated apartment look like in Harbor Tower. Maybe that location feels right, and then you may want to compare it to something in River Tower. The two locations offer some very different ideas for apartments. The River Tower apartments are very modern, floor to ceiling windows. The Harbor Tower apartments are a little bit more cozy. They're not necessarily smaller, but the rooms are separated a little bit more. So you have to decide which location just is a better fit for you. But I really encourage you to come and visit just so you can have a chance to see and feel, oh, I didn't even think an apartment that's 2,000 square feet could feel this big and kind of have a good feeling for you. I would also encourage you to take this affordability calculator. So you can visit us online or you can scan this QR code here, and this will connect you with a confidential service called Money Gauge. And this is a place where you can put some information about yourself in. It'll be 2 or 3 questions about yourself and your current financial situation, and it'll tell you what you could afford here at Harbor's Edge. So it's a great early place to go to kind of start that financial question and conversation. And the sales counselors can kind of lead you through a financial calculator to show you exactly how your investments will grow over time and how that relates to the entrance fee and the monthly service fee that you pay at Harbor's Edge. So that's kind of your next steps from here. I'm going to pull this back over here. Any other questions that I can answer for you? Just checking the chat here to see if we have any other questions. All good. Great. Well, I am so glad that you all were able to join us today. I really appreciate you taking the time. And we will be back in touch with you shortly to schedule an appointment. Or if you want to give us a call, we're happy to arrange that for you. And hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.